Let's welcome people in, Mike, by celebrating the holiday in the way that we know how, our most authentic holiday spirit. Let's hear from Smokey Robinson.
Hey, Marco. How you doing? Surprise, surprise. This is Smokey Robinson. I know you didn't expect to hear from me. But I was contacted by your sons, Jeff and Jared. And they told me that you used to live in Detroit across the street from me. And gosh, that's beautiful. How you doing again? Nice talking to you again, I guess. But anyway, you're living in Vancouver now. And they wanted me to wish you happy Chanukah. I have no idea what Chanukah is, but happy Chanukah because they said so. Anyway, God bless you, babe, and enjoy Chanukah. Have a wonderful time.
The other thing about it is that his voice is just sort of cartoony soft. It's just so very pleasant. Like it's just a good, hearty holiday laugh you can have at this expense of the sweet.
You get that and you smile.
Sweet,
hey, Marco.
Smokey. Like he's just so kind. It's a bit of a charm offensive.
How you doing?
Whittingham might say, like it's a cartoon soft. It's just so kind that you feel like he'd be okay with you laughing at him.
How you doing?
At Chanukah?
Like he's fine with it. Like he's been singing across many years. America has been very, very cruel in music and everywhere else.
But anyway.
And Smokey's still all right. There might be tears of a clown, but he's still all right. Like there's something really soft and wonderful about, like, you can't help but like that person's voice.
And they wanted me to wish you happy Chanukah.
Even while getting your holiday wrong. I mean,
that's, yeah.
I have to be honest, it's the kind of soft that makes me think he's not a nice guy behind the camera.
What?
Wow.
Oh,
I think.
Wow.
No, you are suspicious of You are suspicious of Smokey Robinson. This is shocking. I was fooled by his voice. I bought into all of it.
I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying that I think there are people in public life that do performative soft. Where it's like I seem like an approachable, nice man. I kind of wonder if I went up to him and I asked for an autograph for a selfie and tell him to go bleep myself. Yeah.
How you doing?
You know, for a guy named Smokey, not a lot of smoke in that voice.
No,
how you doing?
No, it's not.
Hey, Marco.
It's so soft and delightful, and as soon as he says hello, I'm made happier. He has brought holiday mirth.
How you doing?
I like what Whittingham is thinking now. That behind that is a very
just
mean
sinister.
man.
He'll shiv you.
Of course you would.
He'll shiv you. Say the wrong word. Say what again? He just cut you. I was made, Stugotz. I don't know if this is going to hit the rest of the room. I doubt very much that it's going to hit any of you this way. But because we believe as a sports enterprise that the most sacred ground is how we all cared about baseball in the 90s. Doug Jones passed away this weekend at 64. And he made me feel like it was okay to have a bad body and you could just have a mustache and you could be out there throwing what at the time was gas, but is now 10 miles an hour faster.
Don't a lot of pitchers do that for you, though?
Making all-star games. There's just a couple of them, but I don't think many of them look that way anymore. It's a particular brand of look of 90s baseball. Hey, where'd we get this guy? Oh, a cabin. We just went out behind that porta potty and got that guy with the mustache, and he came in throwing 92.
Doug Jones, I think, had over 300 saves, and I think had 51 saves one year, and was probably top 3 in the Cy Young voting. Like, it was the best year he's ever had. He never had another year like that, but Doug Jones is just one of those guys that, I don't know, puts a smile on my face.
Was that early 90s? Because I'm going to be honest, that name's not doing much for me. I don't know that name.
It might be even late 80s. It might be a little older. That might be a game where I fall out. I mean, he just died, right? He died at 64. And what I'm saying is that it hit me in a different way. Instead of the mirth of the holidays, it was the sadness of the holidays, because there goes a piece. There goes a piece of me. Like, this has to happen all the time in sports to people. There goes a piece of me that used to love the fat guy with the mustache who came out and threw hard.
I'm sorry that happened over the weekend.
Yeah,
It very
for you,
clearly
Dan.
does hit differently
Yeah.
because it's not landing the same way with us, but we feel for you.
No, but I
understand.
feel it. I feel it. He was late 80s all the way through the 90s into the early 2000s. He had one big season, 43 saves. I was off by 8 saves.
Hey,
43
good morning,
saves.
box scores, too.
I mean, how else would I know that, Mike? I mean, it's Doug Jones.
Todd Jones.
Oh, if you said Todd Jones, I would have been like, yes.
Devastating.
Same family.
Inconsolable if you would have said Todd Jones.
Same family of stuff, though.
Well, are they in the same family?
I don't know if they're
They
the
have the
Jones.
same surname.
I'd make a documentary about it if they were the Jones brothers. All they did was come out of the bullpen throwing 92-mile-an-hour heat with mustaches. It's a particular look, is it not? We're talking about both of the Jones brothers. We're talking about a specific guy coming out of the bullpen.
When Esteban Yan passes, I will feel the same way.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Don't
Piece
even,
of me.
don't even
Jeez.
play like that. Next thing you'll say is like Heathcliff Slocum, and I'll
no, you
just be, I'll just be a wreck.
dude,
Just
don't-
one big ball of emotion when that guy
Don't
goes.
you do that. Don't you do that to me.
And this is one of the ways on a football Monday that a show ages with a lack of grace, opening with Doug Jones' obituary.
You
talk.
open with Smokey Robinson and Doug
That's
Jones's
right.
obit.
That's right.
Weird
On a
place.
football Monday.
That's right. And now look where I'm going to head up, because I want people to hear someone who sounds even older than me on CNN. Bob Costas is coming after LeBron very eloquently. Now, Chris Whittingham has said that he aspires at his greatest of dreams to be Bob Costas-esque. That is what he hopes to be. Bob Costas is as good at this as anyone has ever been in the history of broadcast. I would say not just sports. I'd say all of it. I'd say the history of being on television.
You sure about that?
I mean, considering who he's worked with, he hasn't had a large pool.
50 years, Bob Costas has been doing it in a way that has had grace, unlike Stugotz.
Thank
But-
you.
by
He
the
was
way-
there for you on the Doug Jones set. So.
I really was. I mean, come on. I wasn't moved at all. I had no idea until Dan informed me, and I'm still not moved.
Rest in power.
You were so faking it. It was so very
I was
insincere.
trying to be there for you.
Yeah, but it was so clear to me that it was fraudulent, that you were box scoring an obituary. It was clear to
I
me
was.
that you had no idea he died, and that you
No,
were,
I did, Dan. It just doesn't, even if I had known, it doesn't resonate the way certain names resonate with me. Like Rod Beck would
Still-
really
okay,
resonate.
That's no problem.
I'm sorry for the Joneses,
You didn't have to fake it, and I was trying.
Well, I was doing it for you. I mean, that's what a good teammate does.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for that. By the way, I did want to point out to you that I believe Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg are teaming up, okay, in a biopic about a priest who's an athlete and an actor and a fighter, and it's faith-based, and the story, the name of it is Stu. I just wanted you to know that.
He's an actor and an athlete and all those things.
he's
You
all
can't just
priest.
do jack of all trades.
It
huh?
is a
Swiss Army
faith-based.
priest.
It is a faith-based movie. Hey, you looking forward to that one? Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg are Stu.
I can't wait. I'm honored.
But Bob Costas was on CNN, and I this was eloquent, but I didn't agree with much of what he was saying, because I think it's unfair to compare a guy who's trying to be an activist in this time, Stugotz, to Frederick Douglass and Arthur Ashe and other people who behaved more like Bob Costas would have liked them to behave. And so Bob Costas very eloquently knocked down LeBron James and some very real activism that LeBron James has done for not being worthy of the mantle of Arthur Ashe type of grace, because he does things like curse on television.
He seems to fancy himself as Frederick Douglass in Nikes, and I don't think he's actually up to that. He often says things that are ill-considered or makes sweeping condemnations that are imprecise. He perhaps sees himself as in the Arthur Ashe or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar mold, but I just don't think he's there. And while I guess we have a looser idea about profanity in public these days, I don't think it's terribly classy for somebody who aspires to the kind of regard he hopes to have from Americans that he's constantly using profanity in his tweets and everything else. And what he did on the court, and he wants to be compared to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan carried himself with class. He wasn't universally popular because he was so hyper-competitive, but he carried himself with class, and America respected that. LeBron, as I said, has done many good things. I don't think he's always carried himself in a dignified fashion.
Who gives a shit? Like, seriously, who gives a shit? I mean, LeBron helped build the school, right? In a nation that's not exactly doing well in education, not teaching what real American history is, he built the school. So what the hell is he talking about?
Where's Bob Costas' school?
Profanity? No. What, profanity in public? Like, who cares?
Well, that one made even Whittingham wince. You winced at profanity in public as
there
a
seems to be a
criticism.
lot of public profanity in public these days. People curse now. Whatever happened to being in public life without cursing?
You know what's funny about this? I believe that all of Costas' criticism there is actually fair criticism. It's just unnecessary criticism. Like the pontificating of you're not Frederick Douglass because you curse. Like, okay, you don't get to be Arthur Ashe because you lack the grace.
I think part of the wincing though is Michael Jordan carried himself with class and never cursed. I mean, really, he punched a player in the face, his teammate Steve Kerr, and he coached all the time. I mean, Michael Jordan cursed as much, if not more, than LeBron James. I don't get the comparison. I don't know what Costas is doing. I don't know why.
Now we're having a Jordan.
I don't know why
LeBron
wants
debate
to do
on
that.
who curse
That's
more.
why, yes, that's
Let me tell you something, Shannon. No one could curse like MJ.
Michael Jordan never cursed. Michael Jordan carried himself with class. He was gambling the night before he used to come in finals.
To add the temerity, the unmitigated gall to suggest that Michael Jordan couldn't curse with the best of them.
City before Game 7.
He cursed better than you did, LeBron.
Bob Costas cursed in basketball. What the hell is he talking about?
Boom!
You were holding on to that one.
You got him.
Seems like Costas wants people to publicly be frauds, and behind the scenes they could be assholes if they want to be.
I just think Costas is mad he didn't get the decision gig that Jim Gray got.
Enough of Costas.
Billy,
jeez.
Isn't that what
Costas doesn't want anything to do with the decision?
No,
Get
that's
out
No,
of
come
here.
on. Paid propaganda
Bob
for LeBron.
Costas
That's
wants
Jim Gray's
anything that
corner.
involves Bob
Time
Costas
out.
getting attention.
Whittingham, are you saying Costas would have turned that opportunity down?
In a
Yes,
heartbeat.
in a heartbeat.
Get out of here. Get
Costas is a
outta
man
here.
of humility that doesn't like
Anyone with a
attention.
shred
You
of
guys are right
dignity
about
would turn that assignment down.
Ouch.
You don't have
gosh,
to do that to
jeez.
Jim Gray.
Ouch.
Monday morning
Gray.
quarterback on that.
Ouch. You took out
no,
Jim
of it.
Gray there, Whittingham. Whittingham has alleged that Jim Gray does not have an ounce of dignity. Not 1 ounce. Not an ounce of dignity. Because it was an infomercial. It was an infomercial made
An
by-
infomercial that made a lot of money for a bunch of kids. How do you feel about that,
That's right.
Whittingham?
Anti-charity over here.
Mm-hmm.
put
Anti-kid.
together by our CEO,
That's our future.
John Skipper.
Wow.
Good
Let's hear
job
you
by
tell that to
Skip.
Skip when Skip gets here.
Let's call Skip.
Yeah.
Tell Whitty his.
Tell him
Whitty's
Whitty has
thoughts.
some thoughts on how the decision should have been handled.
They give it a Maury Povich or something.
Didn't Skip himself say that it was a terrible idea and you shouldn't have done that?
Yeah, well, that's for him to say, not you.
I believe he did say it though.
Well, he said it, not you.
But he can say it.
I love
Also,
that.
charitable donations are mostly tax write-off to those that aren't deeply involved. But
Wow.
LeBron is. He makes real changes in the community. As Roy pointed out, he did the school. Also, he does curse a little too much. So what? He's not perfect. Don't put him on a pedestal, Bob Costas.
It is the time, though. It's the time that LeBron exists in, because my guess is if Michael Jordan or Arthur Ashe or any of them presented themselves in less than flattering ways anywhere, we would have caught them once upon a time. Like, Billy, you said, what does he want him to be? Frauds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why?
Like, well, because isn't
By the
that
way, Bob Costas is very selfish. The way he went out there and he was covering the Olympics with that pink, I could have given it to an entire staff. How about sit one out, Bobby?
okay? Can we get Costas on so that you can hit him
Bobby.
with that? How about sit one
No,
out?
Bob only gives
Guy.
us 2 appearances a year because he's very busy. He's Bob Costas.
I'm going to text him right now to see if he'll join us today. Are you going to say any of this to his face?
Now you have
No.
to.
No?
Now,
No?
now,
Okay.
now
No.
you.
No, I'm going to be what Bob wants, a fraud, publicly.
Well, but you say that though. Isn't it what we always want? Isn't that why we felt so betrayed by Tiger Woods, because we bought the fraud?
think people want people to be genuine good people, but will settle for frauds.
In sports, we'll settle for frauds. Man, A-Rod's running the entire sports broadcasting field. Like, in sports, we will settle for frauds. You love him, of course. Proving my point. You're just going to keep shrugging at me?
But what is Whittingham doing to old Jim Gray? I mean,
Not
guy's
an-
got a
You would
Hollywood
love to have
star.
Jim Gray's career.
He's in a weekly show with Brady.
You would not want to have Jim. You are so full
He's
of
got
shit.
He's got a Hollywood song.
You mean getting Stugotz tea for the rest of your career to not be Jim Gray? Get the fuck out of here.
Fraud.
Whittingham just turned down an offer
Speaking of frauds over
of
here.
Jim Gray's career. Wait a minute,
He's a
Whittingham.
podcast with Tom Brady.
Whittingham, hold on.
Exactly.
Let's slow down here.
Tonight.
We have ensnared poor Chris Whittingham in a real web here. Because
He did this to himself,
I feel
man.
for him because not very long ago you just
Wow. I mean, just let him hang himself because of what he's saying off mic over here.
I want to get to this in a second. Let me just set it up because Whittingham is someone who you just recently asked, give me one of the worst broadcasters. And he commented it. He didn't want to give a public opinion to you was this today or yesterday? Like, didn't want to give you a broadcaster he does not like.
This was last night during the post-game show.
Okay, so today, Whittingham is telling you with great judgment, I don't want the career of Jim Gray, who has had great success. And if he had an ounce of dignity, he wouldn't have gone on an infomercial with LeBron and done the decision. I'm frankly shocked to hear you say this publicly because you are so careful with the feelings of others, but you have just dragged Jim Gray. You have just, you don't want his career and you wouldn't sell your soul to do an infomercial with LeBron on ESPN.
That's right. I just don't think of Jim Gray is kind of known for doing the controversial sideline interview with Pete Rose at the All-Star game, right? Like that's like kind of his gambit. But the sideline interview that draws headlines, I mean Jim Gray has had an amazing career and he's still working with Tom Brady. He's done a lot of stuff. It's just not the route that I'd take.
So would you rather have Roy Firestone's career?
Roy Firestone was in.
He's a song and dance man. I personally would love for you to have his career.
I would love it.
Look, Roy Firestone's career, Whittingham, God bless, because he wanted to be a lounge act, but instead got sort of pigeonholed, typecast as you're going to have to settle for being the best sports interviewer we've got. And he was like, no, man, I'm a song and dance man. Please look up on YouTube. It's a fascinating career, but Whittingham, please have
it's like
that
an impressionist
career.
too, right?
He is.
You do one-man shows.
He's an entertainer,
yes.
and the show this was before. Pardon the interruption. Jesus Christ, are we doing an old man show today?
Up close.
That was
He was after Jim Rome, but before Chris Myers.
Yeah.
No,
Who was before Gary Miller.
I think he was before Jim Rome. He was before Jim Rome.
No,
Yeah.
because
I think he was because
was.
I think Jim Rome replace Up Close in the time slot?
Mike, Roy Firestone.
was that the way that it happened? I
Roy
think so.
Firestone was the advent of ESPN Mattering because daily they would have an interview with a sports person. Most of them weren't any good, but every day they would have somebody, because I should say most of them weren't any good because it's hard to do that daily. Get someone to come into a studio and sit down with you and be an interesting guest worth 30 minutes of your time. But Roy Firestone did that well. Yeah. ESPN did that well. That was the place people went to cry. Sports interviews went to cry, and he was the preeminent sports interviewer of the time.
Jim Gray has interviewed the last 10 presidents of the United States. I mean, you wouldn't want that career. He has interviewed Nelson Mandela. He has interviewed Condoleezza Rice. He has interviewed, inside and outside of sports, he's interviewed everyone.
He's got
Whittingham.
a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Whittingham. But we're talking about Roy Firestone right now.
I was bringing it back to Jimmy Gray.
Say on air what you said off air. Say on air what you said off air.
I double dare you.
New information.
Say it on air. No, say it on air.
I will admit to backpedaling. Stugotz makes a compelling argument. I will take Jim Gray's career. However, I did say about 5 minutes ago, I would take what I'm presently doing right now over Jim Gray's career. Which is I currently have 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet on a desk with 4 people.
Your priorities are so screwed, but it's so true. It's exactly the environment we built. Just give me this little patch of land where I can laugh and I don't have to.
Chris, move over. I need room for my laptop charger. Need some space.
Jim Rome hosted Talk 2, which was just like Up Close,
That's right.
but not Up Close. It was
Yes.
exclusive to ESPN2. That's where the Jim Everett thing happened. It goes Firestone, Myers,
Firestone is the godfather and the grandfather. And again, I think the most important part of this is go ahead and go to YouTube. Find it, please. He's a song and dance man. He was a lounge act. Like and proudly and a legitimate entertainer. And the sports interview was too confining. It made him famous, but it's not what he should have been doing. Like, it's not where his heart sang.
Salute to Chris Conley. I didn't mean to leave you out there. He also had a run.
Those are the glory days. Those are that we
Yes.
just went.
Chris Conley has had a great career. I think he still contributes to ESPN with the My Wish and ABC.
I see that guy on every goddamn documentary. He's like become America's historian
He's
on
great.
just all things, not just pop culture or sports. Everything.
Oh, he was a part of like that incredible news staff that MTV and MTV News put together with him, Kurt Loder, Serena Auchel.
Kurt Loder.
Caduce.
I can't believe, Whittingham, what you did to Jim Gray.
It's amazing.
I'm simply shocked. And what happened? Chris Cody is shocked
It was
back
just
there.
so. He was like, and then he was like, "No, the one now. I want my what I'm doing, not what I aspire to be." Because I get Whitty's a talented dude. I could see 20 years from now, Whitty has had a great. But like. He's like, no, right now, everything I've done to my life at this point.
Well, he's confident winning him. He's projecting forward, though.
I'm not just imagining Jim Gray sitting next to me every day.
Whitty
I
just
would love for you to ask Jim Gray to get you your throat coat and see how that goes.
That's the career
We'll throw
Whittingham.
it right in your face.
Whittingham bringing Stugotz tea is the career that Whittingham has chosen over being in the boxing ring when Mike Tyson is giving interviews. Like, he's also done all that. And you could say that Jim Gray is not only the greatest sideline reporter ever, but that he is one of the seminal journalists across the history of boxing for as number of the famous interviews as he's been involved in. It is an extraordinary broadcast career.
Tyson Holyfield, where he bit off his ear. He was there. He was there for the 96 Atlanta Olympics.
Thank
he was
you
there
for-
at the Malice at the Palace.
Thank you for providing that detail into Tyson Holyfield. I wasn't aware what happened.
Well, some people
There
weren't.
is. It's Jim Gray's PR guy in the other studio. I mean, jeez. Wow.
But you not wanting to be
I just
him.
love that.
Not knowing where your career's gonna end up.
Not wanting to be him, and again, choosing a desk with 4 people back there. We're working on it. And bringing Stugotz tea. All of this, I need
sitting next to a man named Fat Chris and bringing me tea every day.
Oh,
That's what you chose.
I need to explain this to the audience here, because we've been stumbling around here for a little while trying to build this business, but we will have more space in studios, and we are working on an assortment of things that will be growth, but we had to build infrastructure on what it is that we were doing. Mike, are we making any of the announcements about what we want to do in the next year, about places?
I'm just going to go ahead and say no. We're not making any announcements right now. We should probably stop talking.
Okay, because I want to start making announcements on things that we've got planned, but we were surprised at what this undertaking was in having, losing ESPN's systems and having to rebuild everything ourselves and doing it all ourselves. And so we are presently trying to get Chris Whittingham a better studio than where he presently sits.
Have you ever banged your knees against that console?
Jesus, oh my God.
It's a top 5 pain.
My knee
I've
still
ever
hurts.
experienced.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just bone on formica.
bone
It's like-
bruises. Yeah.
Mm.
Over Jim Gray's entire career, Whittingham. That's what
Oh, Jim Gray has bony knees. He would absolutely clobber his own knee there.
that is what you chose, Whittingham.
That's right.
Mike, your football team last night, and this is the game that we have not talked about. We have other football that we'd like to talk about, but your team was going into that game, and the hope that you have is, okay, these two running backs are exceptional, and they will camouflage or hide whatever our quarterback's deficiencies are, or perhaps aid him so that he can make the Browns not sink under the expectations of everything, expectations they haven't had in 20 years. You've talked so hopefully trying to convince yourself into Baker Mayfield as a quarterback because he's the best you've had in 20 years, and nothing sells in that sport like hope at that position. So you have this quarterback, but he's physically broken. Like, it's stupid to play with what some of the ailments that he has. He's already got almost literal shortcomings in that everyone out there is bigger than he is. There's no questioning his toughness. We will question the results, but there is simply no questioning how gritty and tough Baker Mayfield is trying to play through this. But last night, they couldn't run the ball at all. And
there were 9 guys in the box.
And because they're not afraid of a physically broken Baker Mayfield.
Baker beat him,
and so
zero respect for the passing game.
And Jarvis Landry, poor Jarvis Landry, 4 yards at a time. And I know he's got longer routes there in Cleveland. This guy's been breaking his body for nothing across a decade.
Had a good game last
night. I'm not poor Jarvis Landry. He has a lot of good games for nowhere teams that never get to the playoffs and do anything.
Jarvis Landry won a playoff game last year, guys. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? That was what the expectations were on this Cleveland season.
Yeah, no, this wasn't about having to run the table and back into the playoffs. This was about a team. This was telling Chiefs fans, see you in January after an epic Week 1 clash. That's what this season was about.
The AFC is so bad. I just was looking.
The NFC is bad too. I'm jealous of the NFC.
Stugotz, I was looking at the standings, and I'm like, good God. I mean, how is it that the Patriots are now at the top of all of this?
Well, the Ravens are. They're up a half game on the Patriots, but you're right.
Ravens, I don't know how the Ravens pull out these wins. Last night,
crazy.
The Browns this season have lost a game where they had 500 yards of offense with 0 turnovers, and they lost a game yesterday in which they forced 4 turnovers. It's a really bad year. No respect for no one can get open too. Baker probably had his best game in several weeks.
He did
last night, and it still wasn't good enough. He wasn't helped out by his receivers dropping big passes. Your deep threat is your tight end. It shouldn't matter that your third string tight end goes out with an injury, but it changes up all your formations. You lose Conklin again. It was nice to see him for 5 seconds. It's just there are no answers right now. Baker Mayfield cannot be an effective quarterback when the running game isn't working. And now teams are stacking the box, 9 in there because Cleveland can't get separation. There's no threats on it, and it's just broken. And unfortunately, Baker's ceiling isn't as high as I had hoped. I still think you can win with him. He proved that last year, but he's unbelievably tough, as you mentioned too. I'm not going to take any shots at Baker's inadequacies last night because the fact that he's out there is a big deal, but it's very disappointing.
It'll buy him nothing. It will buy him nothing. Not at contract time, not in the evaluation of him.
Nor should it.
Not in what he,
I think it's data that you take in when you're trying to evaluate the quarterback. Like, look, this guy was tough. This guy was out there.
Any of us, Stugotz, look, it's so easy to tell Baker, make the sacrifices physically with your body on all your future finances. Do it for these next 3 games. Do it with a busted shoulder. Do it. You got to be there for your teammates, loyal to the sport. And if it grinds his bones to dust in 3 years and he can't play, nobody will be there giving him credit for that when he did it. No, like nobody.
But I'm not certain that anyone wouldn't be a better option right now because, to Mike's point, Dan, all the Ravens were trying to do was make Baker beat him. They were not going to let the running game. They weren't going to let Chubb and Hunt beat him last night.
There was zero. There was zero separation. And I've said a lot about Odell Beckham Jr. He's still. I know he caught a touchdown yesterday, but
meaningless.
He's not necessarily the most efficient player, but he would keep the defense honest with his speed and his separation. Schwartz is out. He's their only deep threat. Let me tell their tight end, David Njoku, is running their deep routes here. They don't. Peoples-Jones has his groin injury. Jarvis Landry's been banged up all season. They don't have Higgins. They don't have Schwartz to cut off the top of the defense. He's one of the worst wide receivers in the goddamn league, but at least he has speed, and he's not a tight end out there running deep routes. It's just not a good situation. I wish the bye came 3 weeks ago so we can maybe fix some of this and get healthy. Unfortunately, nuked by injuries, and the quarterback took a step back. It's fair to say that he was hurt, but it's also fair to say that they don't respect his passing game.
Right.
They just simply don't. And because you kind of need to be able to break through that line of scrimmage for the other things to open up when you have a tight end heavy offense. When you're running out 12 and 13 personnel out there. They have 3 tight ends on the field. That's the entire offense is throw to the tight ends. It's not a good situation right now. Tremendous upgrades need to be made.
Dan, it's a weird year. I mean, you have the Ravens who are limited because it's like stop Lamar Jackson. That's what you have to do. Not that that's easy.
And they can have 3 wins this season.
They've
been in so many close games that they could have won 3 games this season.
I know everyone shat all over that game, but were you guys just marveling at what was going on between Lamar Jackson, Jadeveon Clowney,
it was great,
and Myles Garrett?
Yeah, it was great.
That was a chess match.
He drove them crazy.
It was like Squid Game because it was the highest consequence, and players were literally giving it their all. I felt so bad for the Browns defense because huffing and puffing, doing whatever. And even that guy threw 4 interceptions, and it was still an amazing game by him.
Did you see the play where Clowney just threw his helmet down on the ground afterwards?
It was so cool when he threw that touchdown.
This is what I'm telling you.
Garrett going up to him like, man, you're a bad man.
Well, he's like, what am I supposed to do?
This is what I'm telling you, though. At the height of that, you get so rare. Now, 16-10 games stink. But what I'm telling you is I don't even know what this what is the weapon that a knight swings, because I'm not talking about a sword. I'm not talking about a sword. I'm talking about
a mace.
I'm talking about that felt at the height of athleticism, like those gladiators, those 3 guys, the specifics of the athletics on those 3 guys, where you got 2 edge rushers and you're like, whoa, that is the height of evolution at the position. No one can block them. And then you've got in the backfield a guy who's running. It's one on 2 all
You should
game.
also mention, in terms of highest evolution of the sport, JOK announced himself to a nation because he was running from the opposite ends of the field to chase down Lamar Jackson. Cleveland's plan worked. All they needed to do was not that Jarvis Landry play and maybe catch a 4th down and maybe make one more kick. It's so disheartening. That is a really frustrating team to play in Baltimore because you could do it to perfection. That's as good as anyone can play that guy, and he'll still do what he did to Mark Andrews twice.
I'm not.
I think they're frustrating from the standpoint where you feel like you're better than that team and they still beat you. That's it.
Do you guys know the weapon I'm talking about? It's not a lance. It's like it's a long shaft, and then it's got metal at the top. And I don't think it's a lance or a sword. I'm talking about what you're watching there last night in a stinky,
like what they do with jousting,
16-10 game is like as athletic as that sport can be. And so
is it a pike?
I don't.
You can't do the thing where you throw out medieval weapons, and when we give you answers, you're like, nah, that's not it.
No, I'm sorry.
You have a ball on the end with spikes, or
well,
is that
that'd be cool too.
That's
like,
a mace.
That's a mace.
Sometimes it's on a chain.
You could
too.
throw one of those in there.
Well, no, you don't throw it. You hold it.
No, but I'm saying, okay.
No, you can throw it. I've seen it.
I think
then
it's
you
a
lose
lance.
it.
Okay, go ahead and give Myles Garrett one of those. Go ahead and give. To me, it wouldn't have been any more fun if.
Well, given his history, you probably just give him a helmet.
Okay, well then give that to Myles. Give it to Jadeveon Clowney. What are the 2 weapons that you could give Lamar Jackson? And because those were the 3 players last night. We can make the storylines about Hunt and Chubb, but no, the Ravens said even with a busted up defense, no, you're not running the ball. Baker, go ahead. Arm in a sling. Baker's like Stugotz's lacrosse team photograph where Baker might as well go out there with one of his arms in a cast with a stick holding his elbow to his hip, and like he's running out there with a left arm that's that's off to the side and just totally encased, and he's trying to throw.
They rattled off Collinsworth. It's like, well, he's got the shoulder. We know about that, but he's got a foot and a heel.
Yes.
I thought that was the same thing.
Yes.
But no, he's got a foot and a heel and a knee.
He should have played with a spike in like just one of them had gotten a spike was left on the field and went through his foot.
When Conklin went down, I felt so bad for Baker
Mike,
Mayfield.
hold on a second. You know what? I'm not going to allow you to not celebrate the fact that after 20 years of laughing stock football, of no expectations, of 2 years where you won one game, you have with a serious face now twice said, and then you lose Conklin again.
You can't lose Conklin.
You can't lose Conklin, Dan. You need that guy.
He's essential to the proceedings.
He really is.
I mean, come on.
He protects Baker.
If you think for 1 second you could lose Jack Conklin, then you, my friend, have not watched Blake Hance.
Yeah.
Come on. You are in a place where football mattered so much in Cleveland this year that you are uttering with a straight face, you can't lose Conklin again.
Yeah.
They had Joe Thomas forever. They did nothing.
They never lost Joe Thomas. They never lost him.
You wasted his entire Hall of Fame career. One of the best tackles ever. Finally, Joe Thomas, as soon as he retires, this is God's cruel joke on your football team. You had Conklin. If you had Conklin now, Beckham would still be there and he'd have 12 touchdown catches.
But Dan, there's always a backup offensive lineman on your team. You don't know anybody else's. You know on your team. For the Dolphins, it's Jesse Davis. Yeah. Whenever Jesse Davis is in the game, every Dolphins fan knows immediately, look in his direction, something bad is about to happen.
Turnstile.
For the Eagles, it's Winston Justice. For the Cardinals, I imagine it's Bobby Massey.
But isn't it because just in one game, one of those guys gave up like 6.5 sacks to Justin Tuck?
Yeah, it's usually like that. Or it's like usually it actually works out the way that it's worked out with Baker Mayfield, where they have to be stretchered on and off the field because that one person, Blake Hance, on the right side of the line, is actively trying to get my quarterback manslaughtered.
Mike, that sport, and I know you guys know this because we celebrate it every Sunday, but you can get so close to it and snort it so much and like it so much that just how savage it's gotten can escape your attention. Like just some of the things happening right now at the goal line with these slants and the positions that they put these receivers in are super dangerous.
Dan, all these teams are hurt. Like the Titans are hurt.
I know, but of course, Stugotz, look, this is the effect of a 17-game season. It's why you shouldn't do this. It's Tennessee is broken. Like what these people are doing physically is crazy, and the Cleveland Browns are 2/3 of the way through the season, and they're all busted up. But I'm watching yesterday, and I couldn't get past in San Francisco, a delighted San Francisco. All of these 49ers are celebrating, dancing around. And Dalvin Cook is on the floor writhing. He's just fumbled because the pain was so great that whatever winning a football game at that moment didn't matter. He just dropped the football because the pain was that great. And as this, like, I couldn't imagine how it had to feel at that moment physically. He was screaming on the field. He was pounding the turf, screaming in pain for whatever it is that happened to him. And an entire stadium is rocking with noise. And San Francisco couldn't be any happier in a game that had like a lot of tension and emotion on it. Two very physical teams. And when you say, Mike, wanting it all, 2 5-5 teams, like the difference in this league right now between 6-5 and 5-6 feels like an enormous difference because of the weight of these games, and the bodies break.
Injuries in that sport, they're not talked about enough. And because there's this weird manly thing too. Quarterbacks go in. I'm not making excuses. It's a logical explanation. What happened to the Niners this year? Now they're good again. Well, last week was the Niners getting as healthy as they've been all season. And then Deebo Samuel got hurt. So I imagine maybe there's going to be a backslide there again. Health is essential to the proceedings when talking about these games.
Mike, it's the only thing that matters. Like you've talked before about we need all the analysis on these games to include what the next 3 games on the schedule are, because it'll give you a slalom course about how we talk about these teams as we condense everything to 17 games. And none of the results seem like they matter a ton, and no one of them actually matters because look, we thought the Bills were going to be 13-4 and run away with the AFC East.
They're still good though, man.
And yeah, no, they're good.
Got a giant game with the Patriots coming up.
Right.
2 games with the Patriots, actually.
But the Patriots have been relatively healthy here, and that's helped, but they've also improved. And I owe Bill Belichick and that front office a huge apology that I'm going to make right now, because the first month into the season, it looked like another bad offseason worth of moves from the New England Patriots, spending all sorts of ungodly money, and it just wasn't going to work out. And since then, they've been the best team in the league And the contributions that they've been getting from these free agent signings in particular are helping pushing them over the top.
But to Dan's point, those wins have come against the Jets, the Panthers, the Browns, the Falcons, a broken Titans team. The next three, though, are going to be interesting. 2 with the Bills, 1 with the Colts.
Well,
but they're healthy, to Mike's point.
They've got the best point differential in the league, and they're blowing people out. The last few games, they're only allowing 10 points, and they're winning by 25 points. And the Bills did that at the beginning of the season. That was the Bills that were doing that.
The Bills are still plus 144, Dan.
Okay.
I mean, the Patriots are plus 146.
But we talked yesterday about the idea of WTF teams in the league, and you guys mentioned like 5 of them, and none of us mentioned the Cowboys. Like,
yeah.
But without Cooper for 2 games, without CeeDee Lamb, like it's a totally different team.
That's always the analysis, though. Like, we skip over, George Kittle kind of matters. Gronk matters. Like, Gronk matters too. The Bucks are not champions. Gronk stays healthy, they've got a chance. He doesn't, it's going to be a hell of a lot more difficult.
Antonio Brown matters. It all matters. Yes.
Well, to them though, they've got so many of them that when 1 or 2 guys go down, because they've got everything at all the skill positions. I mean, LeGarrette Blount had 4 touchdowns yesterday.
Fournette,
I'm sorry, Leonard Fournette, and he had 4 touchdowns yesterday, and that's not one of the guys that you fear with them.
No, he is not one of the guys. He
was a top 10 talent in the NFL draft.
He ran so violently yesterday.
He was great.
Jesus.
And he delivered a halftime speech. I mean, Gronk has called him like, the MVP of the team this year. It's crazy.
Mike, do we need to start a new segment around here? I owe you an apology, because I feel like you've been making a lot of public apologies. You just made one. Me. You just made one to Bill Belichick.
Yeah, no, he's earned great signings.
Yeah,
great signing. I mean, Judon, like, you can make an argument for MVP for him. Incredible signings. I'm so sorry. I was an idiot a month into the season. I know what I'm talking about.
He finally had money to spend, and he spent it wisely.
I mean,
and he drafted
historically,
wisely.
Bill Belichick with
money
money to spend.
But he had $200 million, didn't he?
That's not how they spent. They always set out free agency. They wouldn't do crazy things like that. They'd trade for Randy Moss. They had some poor drafts.
Yeah, it seems like, I know we got all excited with I'm back. Seems like they made the right call and going all in on Mac Jones and divesting from Cam Newton.
Oh my God, let's talk about Cam yesterday.
Wow, that was bad.
I mean, that was fun. The storyline in that sport. Talk about breaking bodies. That's as gifted as any has ever been at that position. It's been churned up and spit out by that sport. Like that.
And a car accident too. Totally fair. Car accident probably roughed him up more than anything that he saw on a football field.
The game has gotten so accurate now that he still drops back to pass, and when he throws one of those lasers, I'm like, good God, what a big arm.
And he's still in peak physical condition. Have you seen him? It's not like, I can't see any signs of age. He's not like Baker Mayfield, except when he does that bending down thing in the huddle. He's getting up a little slower now than he used to. But he's still, I can understand how Cam Newton's like, how is this not working out for me? I'm working out harder than I ever have. I'm dedicated to this. I'm doing all the right things. How am I going 5 for 21?
Well, it's why you better enjoy Lamar Jackson. Like, I don't know how long the body in that sport, man. It's a ravage. Like, they go through running backs. Le'Veon Bell is done. He's done, Stugotz. 3 years ago, he was holding out, and it
seems like Saquon Barkley is done. I mean,
but all it takes is a little, because Lamar Jackson, it's unreal how he can stay healthy, how he doesn't get hit hard. They mentioned it, but it's going to catch up to him eventually, and he's going to lose just a sliver of speed.
He's a step faster than everyone else in
so is Kyler Murray, but he's hurt.
But when he loses that step, you could see in games like last night, like, oh, what they have is just his all-world athletic ability right now. Because even the long pass, and I know his passing numbers down the field have been good, all of it is born out of him buying himself additional time in ways that no one else can do.
It's such an interesting way when it comes down to Baltimore and the Patriots at the end, and it's going to be Belichick scheming however he has to scheme against whatever it is that is. That offense of Lamar Jackson, just please
take away Lamar Jackson.
Make things happen, please. Yeah, but take away Lamar Jackson.
It's not easy.
Well, but Cleveland did it last night, didn't they?
To the best of their ability.
Yeah, but the Patriots have a better offense than Cleveland.
Okay, but when comes the analysis, it'll be, oh, Belichick did it to a guy who's not a real quarterback who can't do it in the playoffs for 1,000 different reasons. But it's like, I'm marveling at the idea of you go, okay, Lamar Jackson with 4 interceptions, just out-athleted or somehow Chubb and all of the things going on.
Out-athleted Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, and JOK, which those are 3. That might be the metal sand. I mean, Aaron Donald's up there too, but in terms of just like incredible physical attributes for defense, they are tailor-made because they have to stop Lamar Jackson twice a year. They are built to seal off the edge. They are built to meet him at the sideline, and they still can't beat him.
Mike, they drafted a guy. The announcers were talking about it last night. You'll know the name. They drafted a guy specifically to shadow Lamar Jackson.
JOK.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and read his full name. I can't do it.
I'm not going to read his full name.
If he was on my team, I would say his full name all the time. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. That's a fun name to say.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Even just the last name, Owusu-Koramoah. That's fun.
He should be the defensive rookie of the year.
I hate you.
He's unreal.
Please keep going. Just at various points during the week, just shout his name because of how fun it is that Mike, a Cleveland Browns fan, who I'm sure knows his name and can pronounce his name, does not find his name fun.
Just JOK.
Owusu-Koramoah. I honestly lament talking about the Dolphins. I don't call him Tonga Vailoa every time we talk about Tua. Talk about him as Tua. He's Tonga Vailoa. We should call him that every time.
He's good, huh?
He is good.
It's funny.
Waddle is good.
Yeah.
They nailed that Waddle pick.
Mm-hmm.
They're finally using him better, too.
Man, Jalen Waddle in open space. Who knew? It took him 12 weeks for the Dolphins to get him into open space, but there he was, faster than everyone on the field.
It's weird, though, because I didn't understand. And look, man, this part of the sport, Stugotz, you talk about injuries. Like, we are so woefully deficient on being able to break down offensive line play. So it was going to be Tua bust after 11 or 12 games when the Dolphin offensive line is allowing pressures at a historic rate. Like they just don't give you any time. And so the offense, that necessitated, hey, let's go Waddle 12 catches for 60 yards. Let's just throw it to Waddle as much as we can because Devontae Parker hasn't been what Devontae Parker was supposed to be.
Well, he's been hurt.
Well, again, but that's in that sport, it's all part of the analysis. And Tua's hurt too.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson's hurt. Chris, did you get any more good nominees for people who are skating? Because you nominated
Justin Herbert's skating this season.
Pete Carroll, Justin Herbert
Herbert's
was nominated. Trevor Lawrence.
Charmed life of Justin Herbert. I've been telling you.
I have my doubts on him now.
I was shocked yesterday to see a stat, and it's because he threw so many deep passes last year, that he's 5th worst in the league in average throw downfield. Like, he's become a caretaker with all that flowing hair since Chris Cody. It's not just Chris Cody that you ruined everything going on with the Chargers. You've made Justin Herbert so much less fun. He's not gunslinging guy with the long hair. He's Alex Smith in a wig.
All part of my master plan, Dano.
Mm-hmm. Still want that guy to be my quarterback.
I don't know that he's
mean,
going to be in the
it looks
league.
We were having the Mahomes-Herbert conversation.
Looks fantastic.
He looks great back there. He
You
really
guys were
does.
having that. I'm like, hey, his average pass attempt is shorter than Teddy Bridgewater's.
Oof, that's an insult.
No one wanted to hear it.
That's an insult. You hit me where it hurts. When you say that the average, because Teddy Bridgewater, Teddy's such a nice man.
He's Teddy.
He's such a good person. I really
He's a
root.
tough guy, too. He's been dealing with injuries.
I really root for Teddy. I just don't want to watch him.
I kind of dig Denver's identity. I like watching Denver.
They're right in the mix.
I like their rushing attack, and they have their identity.
It hurts me to say it. Their identity is Teddy. Their identity is whatever, 9-8. They're going to surprise. They're going to go into Dallas, and you're going to be like, "What the hell?" And then they're going to not be good enough at the end because
they're a game back at Kansas City.
They've got really good. They've got really good receivers
everyone's
too.
in the mix.
The rest of the division is a game back. They're all 6 and 5.
Everyone in the AFC stinks.
Remember
the
when-
American Feces Conference.
Remember when the Broncos had Tebow? How could you forget? But they had Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, and they were catching like 2 passes a game. And then they get Peyton Manning, and they don't add anybody really. Wes Welker maybe, and even their tight end gets a big contract. What was that guy?
Julius Thomas.
Yeah, he got one from the Dolphins.
Oh, yes. Julius Thomas.
Yeah, Denver has really talented wide receivers, and you wouldn't really know it by watching them. But they're really good.
It's because
they're loaded. They're loaded on offense.
A quarterback away.
But they got Teddy for that. Teddy discarded in Sam Darnold. There's no knock. Teddy is a perfectly, thoroughly mediocre starting NFL quarterback who will not take any risks and occasionally win you some football games, and then Carolina will get rid of him for Sam Darnold.
I feel like he's going to be in the NFL until he's 40, Teddy Bridgewater. Just as a competent, like the Josh McCown.
There will always be a spot for Teddy. Yeah.
Put it on the poll,
I
Guillermo,
agree.
at Levitard Show. Will there always be a spot for Teddy?
I feel like wearing the gloves takes away from what we think of him. I think we think less of him because he wears a glove. when he
Really?
throws.
You think it lessens him, that he needs help with the grip?
I would think that we would just think of him as a better quarterback if he didn't wear the gloves. I don't know. Do you guys disagree?
Wow, Whittingham agrees. Whittingham says that you think his yards per attempt would be longer if he weren't wearing the gloves. It's interesting that you say that. I liked Chris Cody's theory yesterday that Mac Jones, most delightful play of the day, on 3rd and 10, he scrambles for 7 yards and just a vigorous 7 yards. And he's so pumped up that he gets up and he makes a casual, cool first down sign on 4th and 3. And I like Chris Cody's theory that it's just because it seemed so long that he had been running in his head, and because he's so slow, and because he's not used to running in open space.
That had to be like
long,
20 yards.
He's like, man, oh man, I was running in the open field across. I was just a picture of grace, wind blowing through my hair as I scampered 25 yards when only he had gotten 7.
And you never see swag from Mac Jones. On that play, though, he popped up with such a...
I think he was concussed. I do.
He absolutely was concussed.
That should be the concussion protocol.
think-
Do you think it's first down?
No, but I think he didn't know where he was. He should have immediately failed the concussion protocol. Instead, Stugotz proclaimed him the MVP after the game.
I mean, he deserves some consideration, does he not?
I am put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Lebitard Show. When Mac Jones came up and signaled first down on 4th and 3, should he have failed the concussion protocol?
It's time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Dan, the last few weeks have been somewhat predictable, but with a couple of massive coaching changes, Jim Harbaugh finally winning a big game, one team being better than another at 2-point conversions, and a little bedlam. Dan, make no mistake about it. Chaos is back. Iona, enjoy your 6-0 start. Eventually, it's going to be vacated. The Gales. Funniest thing from the sports weekend? The anti-sports gambling commercials running on TV, whose slogan is, Florida's not for sale. Just so we're clear.
Yeah.
Very clear.
We're clear.
No state is more for sale.
We're the most for sale.
Than the state of Florida.
We're the most for sale.
Thank you.
Put it on the,
It's ridiculous, is it not?
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Batard Show. Is there a state more for sale than Florida? And I'm talking about also like the state of the prostitution industry. Like, is there anything more for sale than Florida?
Michigan football is from another time. They should broadcast the upcoming Big Ten title game between Iowa and Michigan in standard def.
Stugotz, they fought in the tunnel before the game.
Yes.
And the refs thought they could stop it with whistles.
Yeah.
They thought that whistles had jurisdiction in the tunnel.
Whittingham sent me a text over the weekend saying Michigan football is so quaint.
It was.
And I just
quaint.
responded, quaint?
It was
Quaint. They were chanting "fuck Ohio" the entire time. There's nothing quaint about that rivalry.
Talking about the style of play, just using the running game. McNamara doesn't throw a single passing touchdown, and on that last drive, Ohio State just couldn't get off the field because Michigan kept running for 4 yards.
Did you see that Air Force beat UNLV this weekend by 34 points without throwing a single pass?
They do that.
Not one.
No, Air Force could do that. It should be called the ground force. I mean, the Falcons. What? And thank you for your service, of course.
Yes, of course.
I mean, they're still doing it with no passes.
They won by 34.
You can't call them the Falcons.
0 passes. 0 passes.
Groundhogs or something.
Something else.
Anyway. Dan, there are UFOs flying around, and no one seems to care.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's the apocalypse we're living in.
What if that thing NASA sent up to space to take out that asteroid? What if it misses? Is there a backup plan? Is anyone else terrified or paying attention to the story? There is an asteroid that is the size of a football field that is headed towards the Earth. And NASA sent something up there that's supposed to meet it in like 6 years to prevent it from crashing into Earth. What if it misses? What if NASA's wrong? What if it crashes into Earth? What if we all die? No one's paying attention. This thing could take out the entire planet.
Got 6 years. We'll just try again.
What do you mean try again?
If it misses this time, set it up another one.
No, I think 6 years it has to hit it or else it hits us. It's do or die.
We got time. We're fine.
We're going to be doomed by climate change before then. Before then, we're going to be sinking.
Dan, you trust something that's supposed to meet an asteroid at a certain place in time.
We're going to be sinking and on fire by the time that epic event arrives. It's swarmed in 70 more.
We'll be done by then.
70 more variants.
All
like
right.
we're living in the apocalyptic times right now. An asteroid would be blessed relief at this point.
At least 17 more variants and possibly 14 more contract extensions for Nick Saban.
I don't think that this thing is supposed to hit Earth. I think this is a practice.
No consequences.
The asteroid is supposed to hit Earth.
I don't think
The
so.
thing NASA sent up is supposed to hit the asteroid to prevent it from hitting Earth.
But this is to practice in case one's headed towards Earth. Is it towards or toward?
Towards.
Why am I asking you?
Although it does not pose any danger now.
Why are we taking any space information from Stugotz? Like he's the least qualified scientific person.
This thing's going to hit us in 8 years, Dan, if we don't do something. And
You
if this
just
thing
said
misses,
6.
I'm just wondering if there's a backup plan. No, 6 years is when this thing's supposed to meet the asteroid. If it misses, it will take another year or two to get here, and then it will hit us, and we'll all be doomed.
It's unmanned. It's a shame.
Oh, look it up. I mean,
Oh, there it is. Boom. He's got you there. What are you going to say to that? Look it up. Huh? You already looked it up, and it said it wasn't hitting Earth.
Look it up again.
But keep looking it up.
Yeah. So you get to the story I was reading. Yeah.
There is an asteroid in the area of
Thank
Earth.
you.
However, it will be passing by Earth today around 4:30 p.m.
That's a
Look it up.
What if it makes a left turn?
But that's a different one. That's today, not 6 years from now.
Hangs
Or
a
8.
Louie, we're in trouble now. I mean, I'm just saying, is anyone thinking of this stuff? Okay.
Just you, Stugotz. You're the only one.
Thank you.
You should be in charge of NASA.
When's the last time anyone said hangs a Louie?
I don't know. What's wrong with hanging a Louie? I mean, what do you say for right if you got to make it?
You don't say anything for
You
right.
know, you just make it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Bad
make a boring old right.
Oh,
But,
boy,
uh,
Stugotz. You know who NASA partners with on this one?
Who?
SpaceX.
Oh, Jesus.
Gonna miss.
We're done.
Guillermo, does boring turning right need the publicist that Hang a Louie has?
I'm seeing on the internet that Hang a Ralph is the counterpart to Hang a
Nobody
Louie.
That's a
uses
terrible
that.
name.
Nobody.
Hang a
Ralph needs a
No,
PR guy.
Nobody uses. Ralph does need. Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Does Ralph need a PR guy as well?
Hang a Ralph.
And nobody
Hey,
says
hang a
that.
Ralph here.
Not that many people say Hang a Louie either.
Everyone says hang a Louie.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Does everyone say? Have you ever used? Have you ever used the phrase "Hang a Louie"?
Kyle Kuzma had to finish last in his fantasy league. Kyle Kuzma's sweater was the size of a Miami Heat retirement jersey. Army.
It was. What was he doing? Like it came down to his ankles and the sleeve, and I'm talking about the sleeves.
He's paying off a bet. Kuz. He's a good player, Kuz. The Lakers could use Kuz right about now, no? A little youth. A little youthful injection.
That's where we are with the Lakers. You said
They're bad,
You
man.
said but you said last week. Don't worry about them. LeBron's not playing. That was last week. You said
Yeah,
that.
but now he's playing.
Okay,
Still bad.
that was last week. You said that.
This is this week. Army stealing the wrong dog from the Navy. Army, the Stugotz is strong in you. The cadets, the only 2 college football coaches who have had more 10-win seasons since 2010 than Mike Gundy, Nick Saban, and Dabo. Huh? And think about that. The 3 coaches with the most 10-win seasons since 2010. Saban, Dabo, Mike Gundy. Weird.
It's a shocker.
It really is.
And they look so good in those uniforms too. I want
They
to
do.
put it on the poll, Guillermo. Do you want to put Oklahoma State in the playoff just to see those uniforms?
They have a path.
Yes
Yeah.
or no?
Folks, of all their accomplishments over the last decade, perhaps the Warriors' most impressive one is making Andrew Wiggins good. To my friends, Tariq Cohen, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Anthony Schwartz, a happy Hanukkah. Or as the great Smokey Robinson would say, happy Chanukah. Jim Harbaugh, congratulations on improving your record against Ohio State to 1-5. Jim Harbaugh, do it in the Big Ten championship game. And if you do it in the playoffs. Harbs.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Should Jim Harbaugh have won the Big Ten championship game on Saturday, even though it wasn't being played?
Captain comeback. Dan, you could absolutely see Michigan, right? You could see this losing to Iowa, right? You could see that happening.
That's not the point, Stugotz. Before getting to his next loss, and please, can you stop skipping past the biggest victory of his tenure? You've been killing it for 6 years. 6 years you've been saying overrated, fraud, you don't know what you're doing. You knew what you were doing when you were in the Super Bowl, but you're a fraud, you're a joke. Then he wins the game, and you're like, they're going to lose to Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Just hater. Just a hater.
No, I'm not. Just telling the truth, man.
What do you think the final score of that Big Ten title game is going to be?
Yep.
Ooh. I'm like,
Is there going to be snow?
Standard def.
there is going to be snow, even though they're playing it in a dome.
Yeah.
Like it's just
It has
Michigan
to snow
and
for a
Iowa
Big
get
Ten
together.
game. Yeah, it snows.
People say that's football weather, but it's just terrible weather. Nobody likes that, correct? I mean,
Michigan, Ohio State, Dan, at the big house, 108,000 people, little snow on the field. That's football. 4 yards of carry. That is football, my friend.
No,
It was a good game.
no, that's not football, my friend. My friend, you can keep your my friend. You can shove it right up your ass.
Wow, that's hard. I like a little snow with my football.
The over-under for the Big Ten championship game on DraftKings is 43.5.
Yes.
Points?
Under.
Yes.
Points, yes.
Not yards, points.
21. 17. A barn
Iowa,
burner running game.
I would set that. That would be my over/under for punts.
Have you guys seen what's happened to poor Scott Frost in that in that world? Scott Frost was undefeated a few years ago. Could have had any coaching job in America, and all he's done since is lose one-score games. They had Iowa beat. They're winning 21-6. They don't score again, and they lose by 1 score.
Their point differential in conference play was 0. They finished 1-8.
All they did was lose one-score games. Like they won 3 times this season. And how about this? They were favored against 9-2 Iowa. They were favored. Fallica.
Fallica
said it's never happened before.
Right.
I made him a penis.
Mm-hmm. He's a bear. Fine, by the way. What happened with Fallica?
What is my fine?
It's $25.
What he said is that hasn't happened before in betting. That a 3-win team is a 1-point favorite or any kind of favorite over a 9-2 team.
Why are you so hell-bent on me giving Harbs credit? What is going on here? I mean, he's 1-5 against Ohio State. He was hired to do better.
No, I'm just saying that he couldn't have done better than he did this weekend. Like what he did this weekend is the achievement of his Michigan tenure. You've been killing him for 6 years.
That's fair.
Well, why are you hearing this now? Like it's just the most obvious thing. You can give him a second before you say he's going to lose to Iowa.
Do it against Iowa.
Yeah, do it against Iowa last
inside.
Saturday. Yeah, do it against Iowa last Saturday in the snow. Bring them on the field too and beat them as well. Put Iowa and Ohio State on the field. Put maximum snow on your side of the field and beat them as well. And then do it against Alabama. And then Alabama's a fraud this year. Do it against Georgia, who I've said is bad all year.
He is 3 wins away from getting credit for me. Okay. But then I'll have to do it again next year. And then I'll have to do it in the pros. Because he fell a play short of winning a Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So he has to do it there as well. It's got a long ways to go, this Jim Harbaugh.
It's going to be a long way back for Harbaugh.
No doubt. I want people to fully understand what I said earlier. The UFOs have finally arrived. They pose a threat to national security, and we're too busy to give a shit. I mean, they're here.
They are here. People do keep saying that.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do, Steve?
I don't know.
No.
I figured we'd be ready for this. Hang a Louie? I mean,
as what, a planet? What do you want?
Hang a Ralph at Mercury.
Okay, you want to hang a Ralph to get away from the UFOs. Very good.
Carson Wentz can scoot. In perhaps the most shocking red zone moment of the year.
I saw a sprocket roll off of it on one of those scrambles. Just there was a spark plug.
He got 15 yards.
Yeah, he got 14 yards, but a sprocket and a spark plug fell off of it.
In perhaps the most shocking red zone moment of the year, the Jets and Giants were both on offense and both on the red zone channel at the same time. It was incredible. A split screen.
It's such bad football, New York. I'm so sorry.
They're terrible.
So it's just all bad.
They
New
both
York
won.
football.
They did.
They both won.
Winners yesterday. Yesterday was a winner
Give
day
New York
for
its
Giants
football
Jets.
flowers.
Yes. Beating the Texans. Congratulations.
Are you going to tell them to do it next Sunday too? I think the Giants are just a game out of the final playoff spot.
The Jets are in the mix. Are they in the hunt?
Giants are in Miami next week.
Are the Jets in the hunt graphic?
The Jets are not, but Mike is right. The Giants are. The Giants are right there. The Giants could make the playoffs.
NFC super top heavy. They're just losing records in the playoffs right now for the NFC.
It's amazing.
It's just all garbage.
No, I think the Giants are a game out of a wild card spot. I'll tell you in a second. They are.
Talk about it. That's another injured team, incidentally. Not all of your analysis, but a lot of your analysis could focus on the injuries, and you'd be right.
I think we can call it Sunday. Dolphins, Giants, playoff implications.
No, you guys.
Oh, yeah, no.
The 5-7 Dolphins. You'd really like those losses.
Elimination
against
game.
It's a
Jacksonville.
loser leaves graphic.
Put it on the poll.
It is such a loser's lament that I recognize because my Dolphin fan friends are just all sending me, look who's in the hunt, baby.
But I'm not certain you leave the graphic, Mike. It's such a weird season. You have to see what happens in the other games.
This is a loser leaves graphic.
Guillermo, put it on the poll at Lebron Show. Is Giants Dolphins a loser leaves the graphic match?
Red Zone at the end of the day yesterday flashed an entering the day graphic, and the Dolphins were not in the hunt.
Oh, wow.
But then, after their victory over Carolina, firmly in the hunt.
Was Carolina still in the hunt?
Don't
Yeah,
recall.
because they're in the NFC.
5-7 right there.
I think they're a half game out.
Yep, the Vikings are 5-6. The Vikings have had a 7-point lead in every game they played this season. They are the best 5-6 team in the history of the NFL. It's crazy.
All right, you tell me. Better. What's the way I can phrase this? 3-9 Nebraska versus 5-6 Vikings. Who's better in their division? Who's a better loser? I don't know how to phrase it. I'm sorry I've interrupted you.
That's okay. I understand where you were trying to go. I mean,
because you've been maintaining the Vikings are good.
Nebraska could be undefeated. The Vikings could be undefeated. They're not. They've lost a bunch of close games.
You've maintained that the Vikings are a top 5 power team, and I don't think you're wrong, even though they're 5-6. If you give me a healthy Vikings, if I would be scared in the playoffs to see a healthy Vikings offense, that would frighten me.
I'm terrified. I mean, perhaps the best receivers in the league. Crazy. The L in Lincoln Riley stands for liar. The M in, I know it's a little bit debatable. I know. I mean, flawless execution on the lie, but he did say he's going to stay with Oklahoma forever. Didn't he say that?
Mike, do you have that sound? I want to get to that sound. I've been wanting to get to that sound because I thought this was a gangster play by Lincoln Riley. He did not lie to us technically. He got us off of the scent. He lost the Bloodhounds by after the Oklahoma game coming out firmly and saying this.
Lincoln, are you shocked that you've gotten this far without anybody asking you about all the rumors this week? I'm just saying I'm gonna ask you about it, so I might as well. It's nonstop. I mean, it's every day.
Hold up, Gary. I'm not going to be the next head coach at LSU. Next question.
Yeah. He was right.
I mean,
that's good.
See you, Gary.
He said it correctly, Stugotz. Like
nailed
that,
it.
he lied to no one. You're calling him a liar.
No, I said I wasn't certain, but we played the sound, so I stand corrected there, I guess. I mean, he nailed it. That's how you do it.
I mean, that's what Aaron Rodgers did, though. That didn't save him from being called a liar.
Correct. Different crimes.
The crime is the same. The amount was different.
To the people of Oklahoma, I think Lincoln Riley did it was worse.
Far more outrageous to the constituents of Oklahoma.
Yeah. The M in Mac Jones stands for MVP. Cam Newton had a passer rating that was 5.8 points higher than mine was yesterday. Bill Belichick should get some MVP consideration. The 4 in Fournette stands for 4 touchdowns. Leonard Scornette. I'd pay good money for a Bucs Patriots Super Bowl. I mean, how good would that be? Dan, if they made it a pay-per-view event and you had to pay $500 to watch that game, you would. You would. You would. I would.
Breaking news in the NFL. If you've been paying attention, when Joe Philbin got COVID over the Thanksgiving holiday, there was a bit of an outbreak there. Mike McCarthy has tested positive for COVID-19.
Joe Philbin was with the Cowboys?
Yeah.
He's their assistant head coach. Learned that on Thursday.
Wow.
These guys, did Orlovsky get Jason Garrett fired? These guys all get recycled. And Jason Garrett, where's he gonna? He's gonna end up somewhere again in this.
No,
no.
I have him being like Purdue head coach.
Did Orlovsky get him
you have
fired
him as a head coach
in college, lower level college program?
Did Orlovsky get him fired?
Absolutely, because he put out a video, all 22, of the Giants running an offensive play where 3 receivers ran to the exact same spot. And Orlovsky's like, this can't happen. It's bad enough when 2 guys run to the same spot. 3 guys to the same spot. Jason Garrett fired the next day.
The Giants are in the mix. Big game this weekend. Joel Klatt wondered aloud if Michigan should carry Jim Harbaugh off the field. For what, Joel? Finally doing his job? Back in my day, there were standards for rushing the field. College football is going to hell in a handbasket. Speaking of hell, Dano, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Billy, morning show radio. Thank you, Stugotz.
Oh, you're welcome.
I don't
Very
understand
nice of you.
why.
Never thanked me before.
I don't know why you would call Lincoln Riley a liar. We just heard the sound. He was asked. He wasn't even asked about the LSU job. He was asked awkwardly about the rumors. A reporter very much in love with the sound of his own voice got out there with a question about the rumors. And Lincoln Riley, because this blindsided everyone yesterday in the middle. Do you know how hard it is for a bomb to go off on an NFL Sunday? Like for anybody to be paying attention on anything sports related on an
Has to
NFL
be
Sunday.
major. Yeah.
This one caught everyone off guard. What do you mean Lincoln Riley doesn't want any parts of the SEC? What do you mean he's going out west? What do you mean the guy who makes quarterback Heisman winners has said the USC job is better than the Oklahoma job when Oklahoma's going to the SEC? What do you mean? He'd been asked about it the day before because the LSU job is viewed as a better job than the Oklahoma job. I don't know if the USC job is. It's in a better place. It's
in a better place, Dan. It's easy to recruit there. It's in an easier conference. There's an easier path for Lincoln Riley to get to the college football playoff every year, and we all know he loves the easy path. I mean,
it was shocking. It was shocking.
Yeah.
It was shocking that USC still has the prestige to pry away. It's not like this qualifies as a down year for Lincoln Riley. He was in the college football playoff discussion till bedlam. Like he's dominated over there. When you mentioned the back-to-back number 1 overall picks in the NFL, back-to-back Heismans. If you're a quarterback in his system, you have to be terrible to not be in the conversation for Heisman. I was stunned that he went to USC.
Stugotz, in some ways, I mean, I think this is parallel. In some ways, it's as shocking as if you'd heard yesterday he's coming to Miami.
Yes.
USC's got a bad athletics director.
Yes.
It was out of nowhere, this news that one of the hot coaches that the pros might want, a young guy who knows how to make quarterbacks, 38 years old, that he is leaving Oklahoma and leaving the possibility of getting into the big business of the SEC to maybe fear the SEC, choose an easier path, maybe have a better lifestyle, easier lifestyle. But when he was asked about it, this is the thing that I had never heard before in denials. He put an end to the rumors yesterday, or Saturday. He put an end to the rumors after an Oklahoma game because he kept getting lined up with the LSU job. And this is how he said it, which is not a lie.
Lincoln, are you shocked that you've gotten this far without anybody asking you about all the rumors this week? I'm just saying I'm gonna ask you about it, so I might as well. It's nonstop. I mean, it's every day.
Hold up, Gary. I'm not going to be the next head coach at LSU. Next question.
The next question is strong too. The next question, and he said it with his chest, right?
Yeah.
Next question. I wish the next question had been, are you going to be the next coach at USC? I wish somebody could have seen that coming.
Are you just staying in Oklahoma? But that was such a great move by Lincoln Riley to just invoke LSU, because LSU players were following him on Twitter. It seemed like that's where all the momentum was. I believe the Oklahoma State band was playing state songs of Louisiana.
How does this stay quiet? These things get talked about for days. These don't come together in 18 hours. These things do not stay quiet. Agents don't shut up.
I forget who pointed it out, but almost exclusively his recruiting efforts have been concentrated in the California region for the past few months. So it kind of feels like this is a gangster move by USC. They were having this lined up, and no one was talking about him. No one saw this coming. And if I'm a USC fan, I'm so jacked up.
You got the guy. You got the guy.
You got the guy that NFL teams want.
You just got the guy.
Yeah.
You, out of nowhere, you get the guy. You get back in the game. You haven't mattered since Pete Carroll left and Reggie Bush was disgraced and then went on to Wendy's commercials.
I mean, you got the guy who's afraid of the SEC. How about that?
Billy, why do you wish that we were doing a different show, a more traditional morning show, a show that was about whether or not you break up with somebody before Thanksgiving?
Yeah, that was happening. Dan, last week we were off a couple of days. I don't know if you're aware. So I was listening to some local radio, and it's syndicated, so it's not super local. Doesn't matter. The topic du jour, if you will, was would you break up with someone right before Thanksgiving? Because it was right before Thanksgiving, and people had, I don't know if you heard about Camila Cabello and Shawn Mendes. They broke up. No. Yeah, you didn't know? No. Wow, I'm sorry that I'm the one to break it to you.
Take me instead.
Yeah. So that was the topic of the day, and I said, you know what? Interesting. So we'll go around the room. Lewis, would you break up with someone before Thanksgiving?
Why are you going to Lewis off microphone again?
Why
do you insist on doing
around the room?
Why don't you insist on
It'd be rude to completely ignore Lewis.
everyone.
Yeah,
Start with Tony.
But you continue to do this thing where you throw.
You don't want Lewis to be a part of the show.
Yeah,
huh?
I mean, what's from Sweet
Standing
Lou?
in the way of Lou.
Yeah.
Hanging Louie.
Sweet Lou.
Yep.
The last time Louis was on, he promised us some great impersonation that fell like a wet turd in the lap of the show.
Was it a sneeze? I believe
it was a sneeze. It was a sneeze.
It was us. We were the problem.
It was the sneeze.
We were the problem? He's claiming that his
Just said no one got the joke and it was super hurtful.
Oh, wow.
We've
Okay.
mic'd him, but he still said it off mic somehow.
Okay, great. Billy, yeah, please continue to go to Lewis so that everyone can hear from him. What is the question that would you like his thoughts on freedom? Like, what do you want from Lewis?
Break up with someone before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you, Lewis. Excellent appearance. Let's go to Tony now.
Would I break up with somebody before Thanksgiving?
It's pretty cruel, Dan. Wouldn't you agree breaking up with someone
It depends on what's your relationship with the family.
Yeah.
What's the status of your relationship? If you're close to breaking up anyway, and you don't want to see her family or his family, you break up before Thanksgiving.
You're basically saying if you're not going to break up with someone before Thanksgiving, that you can only break up between March and October. Because if you're going to break up, but if you can't break up before Thanksgiving, you can't break up before Christmas, you can't break up before New Year's, and you can't break up before Valentine's Day.
Well, that's cuffing season, Whitty. That's cuffing season. Everybody knows that. Billy, the question
I think
is
there's
this.
a buffer, though, between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
There's a 2 week buffer,
Not a
yes.
2 week buffer.
Have I been to a Thanksgiving at their house before?
Another good question.
Or is it like the first time we're going to really
Are you
going to
make it awkward where the family now all he or she is going to get is questions about where's Tony?
So, yeah.
Where's Lewis?
Yeah. Where's Camila? Where's Sean?
As opposed to faking it, I mean, in front of the entire family.
Not faking it, just sometimes often the relationship is going to end before it ends, right? Like so if you've decided that in your head somewhere, then you might do that before Thanksgiving just to get out of the dinner. No, because you don't want that awkwardness.
I think I would go to the dinner, have all the food, drink all the drinks, and then break up.
Yeah, how great a party! How great a party is
Awesome.
it? How great a party! Do the in-laws throw a great party?
Yeah, they do.
The Cabellos, yeah.
Yeah, Cajachina.
See,
Tony, what if it's at your house though?
Because then you have to answer a lot of questions of the family members, like, "Wait, where's Ashley? Where'd she go?"
If it's at your house, probably no, right? Because you don't want to answer the questions if you're the breaker upper.
Also, no.
Where'd she go? As if she'd been abducted. Ashley's been abducted.
Well, just say, family. Thanksgiving family.
Something came up. Right?
Yeah.
How would you handle it, Billy?
Oh, well, we skipped Chris and Roy.
That's okay. Let's go straight to your thoughts on this. I thought it was going so well with Lewis and Tony when you threw it over there that I put the podcast on speed up past this part. So go ahead and get Chris out of here. Just give me your thoughts so I can get out of this
Chris
topic.
Cody said he had thoughts, and now he's heard.
Nope, go ahead. Pass on by.
Well, we know
Skip.
Whittingham would never do that.
No.
I mean,
I don't know.
Whittingham has a season.
Most people want to be in a relationship during the holidays. So I think it's like the opposite. You could ask the question, if you were single, would you be seeking a relationship during the holidays just for that comfort? See, this is the stuff you can't get if you skip by this right here. Look at that. This conversation made a Louis.
Would you guys break up with someone on New Year's Eve?
Hung a Louis. Didn't make a Louis.
Keep it moving, Dano.
You should hang a Ralph right into the ocean. Whittingham, what would you do? What you do the polite thing? Would you?
I
not?
would.
Yes, you just
Of course you
just
Power through it.
You'd grit your way through the suffering.
Mid-March.
What's your breakup
Mid-March.
season? What's your breakup? Mid-March.
March to October.
After Valentine's,
Wow.
a month
Yeah.
after Valentine's
But wait,
Day.
hold on a second. Let's say there's
Such a nice kid.
maybe a death in the family in March.
Whittingham, you're going 6 months past expiration just so you could get plowed through Valentine's Day.
New Year's,
Phrasing.
Christmas, and Valentine's. One of our birthdays in March.
I gotta get to mid-March. You're like a man crawling across the desert in search of water. I just need to get to mid-March. I'll eat all this tryptophan in November to see if I can get out of this relationship 5 months from now.
Well, wait. Okay, then there's this scenario. Let's say the significant other's birthday is March 22nd. Then where do you go?
Mid-April.
But then grandma passes.
Kicking the can.
Or isn't doing well. Grandma passes isn't doing well.
Yes.
Oh, God.
April
now
30th.
now you're married.
Big Easter gathering.
Now
Big
you're-
Easter gathering would be a real.
Yeah.
No, now you're married with kids is what's happened here. Like this, Billy's going to keep asking you questions
We're
until
getting close to back to Thanksgiving, you know?
What's the holiday you'd most want to get broken up?
4th of July.
Arbor Day.
4th of July is a good shout. Hit the beach.
No one. What do people do on Arbor Day?
No, they break up with people.
When's the last time anyone mentioned Arbor Day? Why is
We
there
don't
an
look at trees, Dan.
Why is there an Arbor Day? I need to know now the history of what are we doing on Arbor Day? Do we just
Planting trees, Dano.
do we just
we're doing?
Is that are we celebrating that as a nation? Do they give someone time off for that?
I remember in school Arbor Day being a thing. Is Arbor Day still a national holiday?
You don't get a day off for Arbor Day.
No chance.
Do you take away a national holiday? You don't get a national holiday and then get taken away. You think that Arbor Day was a national holiday at one time? That can't be so. Arbor Day has always been a meaningless holiday. It's the weakest of the holidays. Arbor Day is funny specifically because it comes in last.
Dan, you all the time talk about climate change and needing to focus our environment, and you want to get rid of the holiday that's about planting trees.
Oh, now we need to do it. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Maybe we're the show that needs to get behind Arbor
I think
Day.
we do. I think, when is it? I don't know.
Good question. Oh, no, it's April the 30th. Oh, man.
You can't break up
Can't break up then.
Can't break up then.
Is Meadowlark giving us a day off? I mean, it's much like Earth Day, Dan. And I'll tell you, if that thing doesn't meet that asteroid in 6 years, there'll be no more Earth. I mean, and no more Arbor Day. Think better hang a Louis. Something's got to hang a Louis. Either the asteroid or the thing that's supposed to meet the asteroid or the entire planet. Now, Dan, if it meets the asteroid, then we're fine. We're safe. There'll be other Arbor Days. If it doesn't, the entire planet needs to hang a Louis.
But what if it meets the asteroid and then the pieces all go flying in the wrong direction and then they come towards Earth?
We're doomed.
The part of looking it up that you asked them to do when they all came back to you with none of these asteroids are hitting Earth. Why are you a dog with a bone with this one? Like, you've searched the World Wide Web and there's no proof from the reason no one's talking about it is because what you're saying is not real or true or being reported by anybody.
Neil deGrasse Tyson was a guest on CNN. Like, you know, when I'm this confident, I'm somewhat informed. Not fully informed, but I saw something, okay?
Well,
and he was talking about how the asteroid was going to hit planet Earth unless NASA stopped it. He was explaining it to one of the anchors there.
Was he screaming? Was he in terror? Was he?
He wasn't in terror because we have some time, but he was saying that this thing needs to be exact. That's all he was saying. I mean, it scared me.
Would you want to know if an asteroid was coming towards Earth to end your life?
If it was a foregone conclusion, nothing can be done to stop it, and you're telling me life is going to end in X number of days.
This is another morning show topic.
Yeah. Would you want to know? Tony thinks he'd be cool if an asteroid was coming to Earth.
Let's ask Lewis.
Yeah, please, let's ask Lewis. How about Hildy? Would you like to ask her in the other room?
No, Hildy skated last week. We were talking about who skated in the NFL. Hildy did because her golden helmet of life reign was over 2 weeks ago, and she didn't pick a helmet last week.
Billy, I believe you've been cheating at the bucket of death.
Okay.
What do you mean?
As the commissioner. Well, if the swap helmet, like you've pulled it multiple times now.
Yeah. That's because Reddit said that. That's not true.
Did they?
Yeah, I didn't do that.
You haven't pulled the swap helmet
I have.
multiple times?
I have Whitty next to me. Whitty's not someone that goes around with shenanigans, is he?
No, I've seen everything on the level with Billy's pulls from the
Thank you.
bucket of death. I'll back his credibility.
You've been watching him?
Are these two working together now? It seems like Billy was very quick to get defensive. Whitty was very quick to defend
No, but
him.
they can't be working together because poor Whittingham is like 0-9 at the bucket of death.
Cahoots.
Whittingham would be getting a terrible
I'll have
end
you
of
know
this
that
transaction.
December is coming in a couple days, and I will not stand for these accusations, or there will be blood.
Okay, forgive me though. This is an accusation that's been made by others other than me. I just feel like you're up to no good at all times, and because I can't see what's happening behind your mask these days, and because you keep throwing it to Lewis to purposely throw the show into anarchy and chaos, I've assumed that you've got nefarious things up with your commissionership, but you don't appreciate your integrity being called into question.
I do not.
Okay.
Not at all.
I'm going to have to apologize
Should
to
I
you.
appreciate my integrity and the integrity of this grid and bucket of death being called into question?
Well, nobody's punished.
I brought this back for you people.
Thanks.
What is happening with December? What is it that we need to know? You
It's
sent
coming.
out a
Just
Google
know.
document. I saw a Google document, the first of its kind I've ever seen.
Yeah.
From you threatening people with December.
December is coming, and punishment payoffs have been scheduled. And I have enlisted Hildy, the aforementioned Hildy, to get us the supplies necessary for enforcing these punishments. Costumes are on their way, people, and dates have been set. Let me know if there's any conflicts so we can change those dates.
Dates have been set where costumes. Okay, so expenses, things are being expensed, and costumes are coming.
Yes, so is December. Kicks off tomorrow, November, but close enough. Because Bimmelin is a whole thing, Greg. It's a shape. Greg's back, but Greg's here on Tuesday, and it's November 30th. And I talked to Lewis. It's easier to do it live than it is
Our
taped,
COO is going to shave Greg Cody's back.
He has to. Yeah.
The one thing maybe you could help out with is I haven't told Skip he has to dress like Machine Gun Kelly this week, so maybe someone can let him know about.
All right, I'm gonna let him know right now. I'm also gonna let him know that that Whittingham thought that the decision was a terrible show, and that if anyone had any dignity,
I got backed into a corner there. I love the decision. I wish ESPN would do more decisions.
I don't think I've heard anything more shocking than you raining down on this show today, than you raining down judgment on Jim Gray.
It's amazing.
Simply not wanting a Hall of Fame broadcaster's career whose star is on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and is at the center of a great many seminal journalistic
He's
moments.
interviewed the last 10 presidents.
I think Bill
Wait,
Clinton,
what?
I think Bill Clinton was like at his birthday party or something. Like Jim Gray travels in the highest of circles.
Did you get that from his wiki page, Stugotz? I feel like he's someone who would edit his own Wikipedia page.
Oh my God. What are you doing to Jim Gray, man?
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Does Jim Gray edit his own Wikipedia page?